Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Night Soul Stitching. This is Captain Stitches, and I'm Jean. Let me see who's here with me already in the chat. Welcome and good evening to you, Carol. And Soul Brother Mike, a New York beauty, is here, of course. And Lori Clark has just joined us. Good evening to you. Hello, dear Danielle. She is here also this evening. Welcome to you all. Thank you for joining me this evening. And Katie Crafts is also here. Welcome, welcome. So we'll give it a little bit of time before I start, of course, as always, to let others have a chance to pop on before I just jump right in with everything. And Gladys, the confident quilter, is here also this evening. Welcome to you, Gladys. And let me make sure I'm not missing anyone. But yes, it has been a very, very warm day here today. So it's nice that evening is here and it's cooling off, I must say. Hello, Donna. It is great to see you as well. Welcome, welcome. And Tracy is here. Good evening, Tracy. Always recognize you with the pink hands waving. Welcome, welcome. And Shirley with Around to It is here. Welcome to you from Canada. Yes, it is great to see you. Haven't seen you for a while. So yes, it's awesome to see you this evening. But of course, I am here with our dear, very tiny little gal, Sylvia. And why do I say our little gal, Sylvia? Because she really is quite small. As you know, Sylvia only finishes out at approximately 19 by 21. And in that area of 19 by 21, there are a total of 42 of these tiny little squircles. And on each one of these squircles goes another smaller little squircle. So she has a lot of very fine, small, detailed stitching to be done on her. But it is a challenge that I am so fully ready to accept and continue with. So we will see how she comes along. But quite, quite the it's amazing. You look at a pattern and you know what it says and everything, but then you start cutting out the pieces to it and you go, oh my goodness, this is really small. And so it was a little bit surprising. And all the beautiful embroidery stitching goes on the smaller squircle that goes on the middle of here. And for those of you that haven't heard that term squircle, that is what they call these little squares that have got the rounded corners. So they are referring to them as squircles, combination of a square and a circle. And I will be getting into more of that in just a little bit. Let me make sure that I don't miss anyone else that has come in while I may have been talking. Hello, Jill. It is great to see you this evening. And Debbie is with us. Good evening to you as well. And I believe that is everyone so far. So, as you know, when I left you 2 weeks ago on this, we were just getting started and we were working on our little practice sampler doing some of the stitches, and I will still be working on that as I work on this, always practicing the stitches before I do it on my final pattern here. And that will be a nice little keepsake to keep as a stitch sampler when that is completed. And we are using this creative stitching, which is from Sue Spargo, her second edition. It has all the beautiful and wonderful stitches in it that we will be using on this. And this, again, is not the greatest picture because they did it in grays, but that is the pattern that is called a Sylvia. And you can see that it is the tiny little squircles with another smaller squircle on top. Then they are embellished with some embroidery stitches. But I have, let me add the other view in here, and then when I start the actual yeah, if I can find where I am. There we go. We'll just go like this, because then I can show you a little bit better on here. And like I said, when I get to doing some of the stitching on that, I will spotlight that so it is even easier for you to see. But let me see. Rudy, I'm not going to pronounce the last name right, so I'm just going to say Rudy is here. Welcome to you. It is great to see you this evening as well. Anybody able to get the book? And are you talking about the creative stitching book, Mike? Because I do believe it is once again available on Amazon. Oh, and that is what was under the heart on Danielle thing. Yes, it is again available on Amazon. Like I said, it is sporadic because they run out, but the last time I checked, it was available again. So, okay, thank you, Mike. But as I was saying, I do have all of the background squircles on my um, background fabric here, and I am using a homespun. And I showed you that I am using more of a variety in the color scheme that I am going with. I'm going with fall colors on mine. This little green dot you see on here is still on there because that is the top. Don't want to somehow pick it up and it end up picking it up and working on it upside down and do some stitching, then realize, oops, have that turned around. So I'm leaving that on there until I'm done. And you will see that I have these all safety pinned down. I could have added them one at a time and stitched them on as I went, but because there are so many to put on and a variety of different colors, I was afraid if I did to that, I would get down to the last few and realize, oh, I have too many of the same colors left to go and too many, too close together, and the others would already be stitched down. So I decided it would be better if I went ahead and put them all on here. They're safety pinned on. The ones that don't have the safety pin on, such as that one, this one, and this one, I have already stitched on. So as I stitch them on, I will remove the safety pin because the stitches do blend in quite well on this wool. And if I lift that up for you to see better, there we go. You can see that those stitches really do blend in, which those are just the whip stitches holding them on around the edge. All the embroidery work will be done on the smaller one, which will also be whip stitched on there. And let me make sure that I'm catching that. I will leave a link also for this in the description box again after the video is over. And Vintage Style by Joe is here also this evening. Welcome, welcome to you. And gotta get the notification out of the way there. And let me make sure. And Andrea is here. Howdy. And Melanie Taylor is here. Welcome to you as well. And I hope I haven't missed anyone, but I am going to. New York Beauty's got a hug going on up there. Just saw that. But I am going to continue on showing the whip stitch on stitching some of these down. I have my needles right here in my little needle book that I have shown you before. And I do have some of them already pre-threaded with the colors that I'm going to be using on that. So those are sitting over by my side, and I have my trusty dusty needle threader as well. And I think you can see right here are the wool threads that I am using, and they are going from the lightest to the darkest according to the color of the wool squircles that I have on here. Okay. And Danielle says that she loves the fall colors. Thank you. I do too. Fall colors are some of my favorite colors. So, like when I am able to use them. But let me find, I'm going to try working on some of the bottom ones here so I can remove the pins and not have as many safety pins to get tangled in as I go along. And so I am going to find the appropriate needle that is threaded with the color that I need here, hopefully without unthreading it. Some of those are hard to see until you get to the actual one, because the brown and the red are looking like the same thread to me down here right now. But I believe I have pulled, yep, the correct one. Okay. And I am going to go ahead now. And So Blessed by Jess is here. Welcome to you. Hello, hello. I am going to go ahead now and I am going to remove myself. Well, I thought I was going to remove myself. We are going to go up here and do it the other way. There we go. And you should be able to see that a little bit better now. I'm at an odd angle, I know, for trying to show the stitches this evening, but this is the best that I could get for right now. Well, thank you, Mike. Yes, new manicure that I worked on this evening, and then thought, what was I thinking doing that right before going on to do a bunch of stitching? But the way that we do the whip stitch to begin with is we are going to bring our needle up right at the edge of our, let me remove this just a minute. A little note on my camera that's in my way of seeing it. But we're going to start by putting the needle in right at the edge, and I just moved it, bottom edge of the background fabric. And you're going to pull that up all the way. And then we are going to go and take a very small stitch perpendicular to that. And I know this will be a little hard for you to see. I'll hold it up in just a minute when I have my needle in the position. You're going to take it perpendicular and you are going to come out right below your wool about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch away from that at the bottom. And that, let me get that in the light, is how your needle will look with the stitch in there ready to pull through. And that is a whip stitch. And that is what we will be doing. And I'm using a wool thread, and that is why it blends in so nicely in the wool. Oops, as I flick my needle in my hand. And I'm just going to continue to go that way then, taking that small little stitch into the wool, going at an angle, coming back over out at that bottom the same way that I showed you that I did that originally, and pulling it through. Yeah, boy, that really blends. I have got to show you in just a minute. I'm going to take a couple more stitches. And as I said, when you are going around, you're keeping your stitches perpendicular to the edge of your wool. I want to take a couple more because I can barely see where I have stitched. That is how well this wool thread color is blending in with the wool that I am using. It is amazing. So let me lift that up there as close as I can. And you can't see the stitches, can you? Very, very hard to see them because it is totally blending in to that wool. There you go. Very, very hard to see, which is good. We don't want to see those. We don't want it to take away from what we are doing with the rest of this. Oh my gosh, I wish. Mike cannot afford that right now. What are we talking about? What did I miss that went up there so fast? I'm about to be going to pick up dinner once we decide on something. All right. Oh, lobster. Okay, got that. And June is here. Welcome to you, June. Yes, cheesecake. Oh, yes, I love cheesecake. Sounds awesome to me. With cherries or strawberries. Yes. I actually like chocolate. Chocolate cheesecake also. But and a perfect blend, yes. All right, I've caught up with the chat. So now I'm going to continue to stitch around this squircle. Yeah, our homework the past 2 weeks was to get all of the squircles cut out. And like I said, continue on the practice sampler of the stitches. And yes, I am ahead by having my squircles, the big larger ones, on the background already. But of course, to be able to show you what to do, I need to be ahead. So that is why mine are already all on here. And I also remember we had the sheet in the pattern, which was for you to put your layout on. And this was my layout sheet. I just used that as a reference, but I just randomly took and put my squircles on here. Worked out a lot easier that way than trying to figure it all out. Sometimes, the old saying, keep it simple, with that other little part added on there that I won't say, is the best way to go. Sometimes you can, like I tell a lot of my students, don't overthink it. Then we have a tendency to sometimes get ourselves in trouble when we keep overthinking instead of just spontaneously, randomly doing some things when it's supposed to be scrappy instead of planning it out. And you will see the importance of keeping, as you go around the curved part of the squircles, of keeping your stitches perpendicular to that edge. Otherwise, they would look a little strange and be turned going the wrong direction as you go and work your way around the curve. Yes, I follow the K principle. More people should. Yes. KISS principle. Yes. I was going to say that also, but KISS with a single S also stands for Captain Stitches. Uh, but so it will take a little bit of time to whip stitch all 42 of these on here. And then of course, once that we have all 42 of the larger size, which they're not large, but the larger of the two sizes, all whip stitched on here, then we have to take our smaller squircles, and I will show you those in a minute. And we have to whip stitch, well, we have to lay them out where we want them first, and then we have to whip stitch those all down before we start the embroidery and any embellishing that we want to do on those. Yes, Debbie has heard many, many times, don't overthink it or stop overthinking it when I know that's what she's begun to do in her head. I have a vial of insulin. I'm trained. Okay. I missed part of that conversation. I have to say, your Sylvia vision is a whole different world. Yes, I kind of went just a little bit different than the original pattern. Not much. I mean, my squircles are still all the same. Everything is still the same size. I just am envisioning it a little bit more colorful. I will be adding more embroidery stitches and embellishing than what the original Sylvia has as well. But I just saw this beautiful wool and decided, yes, I want mine in those beautiful, beautiful. Oh, I get it. Talking about the cheesecake and everything, and those of you that are going to need need the insulin afterwards. I think I got the gist of that now. Okay. But yes, I and I love this homespun too. It's really working out great with the wools that I chose. And I'm trying to keep my angle correct. And I keep forgetting and turning, but and every once in a while you may get a stitch a little closer together than what you intended. Don't worry about it. Just go on. You are just whip stitching these down. It is not going to make a difference in the realm of things for the pattern. And as you can tell with how I showed you, you can barely see this thread on this wool. And that is what is so great about being able to, if you can, use wool thread for your wool applique. It slides through like butter, for one thing, and it just sinks right into the wool and practically disappears. Which, of course, you wouldn't want to use it for something that you want to show up, unless you're using a contrasting color. Yes, then it would show up. But beautiful. You guys are making me hungry. It's not as cold. It has it has a personality. My Sylvia is is a little bit more colorful and outgoing. Of course, we won't know what she's totally going to look like until she's done, because all the fun work of the embellishing is yet to come. All the fancy stitches, and I'm hoping to add some beadwork on also. So yours is chilly. Well, yours is blue. Yours is winter blue, Mike. Well, you added some of the raspberries, and I'm not sure if it was raspberry and a purple or whatever in there with it. That'll add some. Once you get it going and your squircles on and you see it, it might not be as chilly as you think. Unless you're speaking of cheesecake. And I totally missed that. And Melissa is here. Welcome, welcome to you, Melissa. It is great to see you. What has everyone else been working on? Of course, I know what some of you have been working on, but not all of you. Got a little fuzz on there. Got to take that off. And I did, because if you have a fabric that you find is doing a lot of fraying on the edge, because this is getting moved around and handled a lot in the process of doing this, and we don't have much of an edge there to play with, I did get my fray check out, and I decided to go all the way around the edge of my fabric with the fray check to help control the fraying of that while I work on that. And when you see me hold that up like that, I'm dropping my needle and letting the thread untwist. When you're doing a whip stitch and it's stitched like that, the number of times that you are going in a circular motion with your needle and thread, it has a tendency to twist. So to keep it from getting knotted, you just let it hang down and untwist from time to time as you are going along. Lori says that she ended up eating the rest of dinner while cleaning the kitchen. Oh, that so often happens to a lot of us, doesn't it? Or I always end up with cold coffee in the morning because I'm doing so many things after I've already poured my coffee that by the time I get to sit down and pick it up to drink, it's cold. And then the funny thing is I will come out here in the cottage, make another cup, set it down, and it gets cold because I forget it. And Danielle says that she completed a bed runner top and her modern diamonds top today. Just need borders put on the diamonds quilt. Awesome, awesome. And that diamonds quilt is beautiful, Danielle. And spaghetti sauce for making canning and fabric pressing and preparation. Awesome, Andrea. Okay, picking up Taco Bell. And Jill says that she just finished a fall cardigan. Ooh, awesome. Awesome. I hope you share that in the group, Jill. I was looking at some cardigans today and I thought, oh no, I should make one or two instead. It's not like I don't have enough yarn. And so yeah, I would love to see the one that you just finished. Make a run for the border. And oh, yay. Very good, Carol. Carol is an awesome accountability partner. Let's just say she keeps me on task. Definitely. and I appreciate it. Uh, so that's a little private joke there. And Mike is also saying, yes, Jill, share. Be sure and take a picture and post that in the Facebook group. We all want to see that. Almost around to the beginning on this one. I think then I will pick up my smaller squircles. They all need to be rounded off yet. So I will do that to show that step as well, because I want to have the rest of that. It just made a funny sound. I don't know if I dropped something down there or not, but I'll find out later. But we'll want to have those all on in the next 2 weeks before homework. And I have to end this stitch. That's all the way around. Almost didn't see that I was all the way around there. And that is what it looks like on the back when you are doing a whip stitch. So now I'm just going to end it off by taking a little bite of the fabric that I know is underneath it there. Make sure I didn't go through on the front and knot my thread. Put that back here where it belongs. I was going to say, looked like something was missing, and that's because there is this needle. Okay, so I'm just going to lay that out, and I'm going to take this safety pin out of the one that I just did, so I know that that one is done and attached. Put that back in there. And here are all my tiny little squircles, all still in their bags according to the colors on my chart that I was using. And those all need to be rounded off. And what I was going to say to that effect is I did not use the template to cut these out. I cut the squares the size that they are supposed to be, and then I just freehand trim the corners to make the rounded little squircles so that none of them end up the same. And I'm going to have those little pieces all over here. We'll try and put them down. It's all right. I'll just shake them off when I'm done. But that way they all are random and don't come out all looking the same. But I'm just going to set those there to the side as I do that. But now all 42 of these need to be trimmed into the tiny little squircles. And you see what I mean by tiny? And that's what the embroidery goes on. So yes, very fine, detailed work. I'm not giving the exact measurements of these because it is a paid pattern. But you can see that they are small. So where these, because they are so small, almost end up being a circle. They are referred to as squircles. We're just going to do these so that you have an idea. Oops, kind of left a little bit of a tip on that one. Just stacking those all up, and I will just put these all in one bag. I don't need to keep them separate because I will just randomly be putting those on as well. Just going to go through this little bag real quick first. And if I don't keep those up here, Mr. You-know-who that spends time out here in the cottage with me will find them and he will run off with them. And I don't want him to eat them, so I will make sure that I keep those up here and don't end up with any of these on the floor. Tiny squircles. The heart is in the way in my wine. Is that what it says? Yeah, I might go back to taking that heart away. I don't like that it blocks the view of the last of that word on people's comments. You have to guess what's behind the heart. The little Don Ho. Okay. Oh, tiny bubbles. Uh, I like the squircles better. And I like because it sounds like squirrel. Squircles. We have squirrels and squircles in the cottage. Didn't get too round there. I have to fix that. Don't like the way that looked. There we go. Oops, we got one more down here. One more. And we will go ahead and place one of these on one of the larger squircles. Like that. There we go. Don't like that little tip either. There, that's better. That's back on there, and I'm going to try brush these little tiny pieces that I made a mess with all into my hand so that, like I said, whip does not get them. Ooh, I said that out loud, didn't I? I had to look and see where he was laying. Okay, brush those all off there. I think I have them all. And those go in my little tiny trash pot over there. Okay. Scoot those down and let me see. Yeah, now the decision is where where to put it. We can put it here on one that is already stitched down. Go up here and look where the others are. Yeah, that looks like a better spot than the others. So we are going to, and we can put it there, or we can put it there, or we can put it there, or there, or there. I'm going to put it up in this corner. And I am going to find the correct thread for that. Should be this one. and stitch that down with the whip stitch on top of the other squircle. I'm trying to figure out which thread this is. I may have picked up the wrong one. I think it's supposed to be this one. Yep, this is the one. Okay, and we are going to do that the same way, and I'm going to move that in just a little bit to get it away from the stitches on the other one, but we are going to stitch that the same way that we did the others. I didn't put the chat to sleep, did I? All got very quiet. Wake up, everyone out there. Oops. And you just want to make sure that you can go all the way through or just through the wool that you are working on. It doesn't matter as long as it is attached. Like I said, working with this wool and the wool thread, it is like stitching through butter. Trying to make sure I keep that straight as I'm doing that. Oops. Come on. And get the needle to come up where I wanted it to. I'm watching the squircle work. It's a teeny tiny canvas. Yes, it is. And I am taking a little smaller stitches on these because they are smaller than the others. And you want to kind of keep things in perspective. And once again, making sure it stays straight on there. It's a squircle. What's straight? But it was getting just a little bit crooked on me. At our time. Sorry, I moved that back a little far. Sometimes I forget. You will find that putting these little ones on top of the other, you're going through a little bit different thickness there. And it is just a little bit more difficult to get your stitch coming up exactly where you want it. But by the time you do a few of them, it'll be second nature and you won't have any problem at all. And you just keep turning your work as you go around. One of the advantages of this being a smaller project, there isn't a whole lot of fabric that you have to work with in your way. So that makes it nice as well. Ooh, and somebody just woke up and walked below me. Thought I saw him get up on the chair, but I guess not. We'll see if he makes his presence known here in a little bit. Everybody be quiet. Be very, very quiet. He noticed me on the screen for the first time this evening when I was setting things up. And he really had a hard time trying to figure out how I could be two places at once. It was funny to watch. Uh, it was a little confusing to him. He would look at it and look at me. You know, what's going on? Maybe he was thinking, ooh, now I get twice the amount of treats. Oh, and Melissa says, LOL, we're awake. Good, that's great to hear. I know that this type of stitching can be very, very, very relaxing, but I don't want to put you to sleep. Yes, it was quite comical, Mike. He could not figure that out. And to see the expression on his face and the way he kept turning his head, looking at the one and then looking at me and trying to figure out, hmm, you'd never seen two of me at the same time before. And for a minute, it did look like he was going to try and go over to the other. It was actually on my tablet that was set up. It looked like he was going to go over there and try and beg for a treat at one point. He would have been there for a while trying to get one from that look-alike. But at least one thing about the smaller ones, if I turn that just a little too far, is they're not going to take as long as the others to go around and stitch down, but this kind of starts to give you the idea also of how before we have the other decorative embroidery stitches on, it's starting to give the project a little bit more depth. Already with just the one, I can tell that, okay, can see it coming together now. I think it's actually going to be quite enjoyable. Did you hear that, Mike? Yeah, the thought bubble above his head. That's cute. I like that, Mike. The squircles are beginning to grow on me. Like I said, I decided when I saw the size of these when I was cutting them, I thought, ooh, that is really teeny tiny to stitch on. Of course, I have stitched on smaller, but I thought, okay, I am still up for the challenge and becoming more. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be rather intriguing. I like that. Yes, I heard you, Jean. Sylvia is beginning to speak to me. Huh. Just thought just came to mind. I have an aunt named Sylvia, and she would, not now. She's yeah, in her 90s. She would she would love this project. If any of you know what hardanger is, she did awesome work in hardanger. Whoa. And I just undid part of my manicure. But I'm gonna hold that up here as soon as I get my needle back down here. And we are going to lose that nail, but we'll hold that. Oops, oops, and go the right direction, G. And there you can see how that is stitched on top of the other one. So we are going to set this part aside for a while. There's my top. Turn it back around the right direction. Lay it there. And we are about at the hour's time. So I was going to do another stitch on the stitch sampler, but I think I will go ahead and not do that step. That would take us into overtime, and this isn't a football game. So we won't go into overtime this evening. I will go ahead and leave that for the homework and the next. This is like a ladder stitch here, but it's a square chain stitch on this one up here that did not see last week there, but that is going to come along very nicely. And like I said, when it comes to these squircles, I will also be putting those all on after I get them all cut out. I will be putting those on randomly the same way that I did the the base ones, and then stitching them all down so that I don't end up coming to the end and seeing that, oops, nope, they're all stitched down and I need a different color. However, I do have plenty of the wool scraps of this wool left over that I could cut a different color if I needed to. So we will see how I decide to do that. But I am going to go ahead and I am going to remove the spotlight on there so that I am back here with the rest of you. Glam touch up. Yeah, hardanger is beautiful. Yes, it is. And Mike says Sylvia is getting in. Okay, Mike just Googled hardanger. Yes, it is. It is a beautiful thread work stitching. Thumbs up for Jean and Sylvia. Thank you. Yes, don't forget, if you haven't given the thumbs up, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And if you would like to go in after the video is over and leave a comment in the comment section below the video, that would be very much appreciated as well. That is what really, really I'm sorry. I'm just laughing at what Mike did there. That would be really appreciated because that really helps push our videos out there. And I like how Mike said, and subscribe. However, the chat is for subscribers only. So if you're in the chat, you are already subscribed, unless you are over in the top chat and I haven't seen and you are waiting, and there may be some new subscribers that just haven't been able to be welcomed into the regular chat yet. But yes, And of course, check out that join for the membership also for anyone that may be interested. But well, thank you, Andrea. You are very welcome. But thank you once again, all of you that joined me this evening. Next week, of course, we'll be going back to the Kwandi and continuing on with that and giving more instruction, tips, and techniques on that as I work along on that, which I will be working on two of them, the African one and of course the junk bag one. So two different ones to show you and enjoy working on. Yes, good night, friends. Kwandi time next week. Yes, love Kwandi time. One of my, whoops, had something underneath there when I picked that up and moved it. But so take care, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And remember, as always, in the meantime, I can keep you in stitches. Bye-bye, everyone.